I'm good, I would need, I would die, 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 I would need, I would die.
If you find yourself struggling in today's market, you are not alone. Everybody I know is struggling in today's market to get their offers won. And yet my man, Colton Whitney out of Orange County, California, has cracked the code. This guy's figured out how to win when everybody else is losing. We're going to dive in and give you tips, tricks, and things that you can do today so that my voice just cracked. I got puberty happening. This is an exciting day. And you get to learn about all this great stuff. Colton, my man, thank you, buddy, for being here. Thanks for dressing up too. You are just easy on the eyes.
Brother, thank you. I'm going to have to try to match your energy at like a fifth of what you do, but you're giving me a tutorial on how I need to do mine, so I appreciate it.
Oh, no tutorials necessary because I'm here to learn as well. Folks, I gotta share with you the bromance that Colton and I have, okay? Colton and I are in a coaching relationship together. So Colton, I've been your coach, is it a little over a year? I think it's just over a year.
I think we just hit the year point, yeah.
I didn't get
happy anniversary, by the way.
Yeah, happy anniversary to you too. Colton's also in our mastermind and has been in our mastermind for over a year now. We have a group of really incredible team leaders and just my favorite people on earth. And so we get to grow with that as well. But more than any of that, I think I've developed a really good friendship with you, Colton. You're just somebody who I love and adore. And what I love about our relationship is that we're able to walk through life together, the high highs and the low lows. And we also get to walk through business together. And that's what we're going to talk about today is this market that we're in and how you're finding wins and losses and everything else. But folks, you need to understand Colton in the last 3 months has done more for his business than he did in like the last 9 months. So walk us through what life is like in Orange County, California with an average sales price of $1.3 million. I got to sell 7 houses, 15 houses just to get to the level of Colton Whitney. But give us a breakdown of your team, your life, your business structure, because I want to understand what is the foundation for this incredible win that you're finding now.
Yeah, so we've been, and it's not through any genius, it's 100% from getting punched in the face 45,000 times and having to find a way to fight back. We've been very fortunate. At one point, I used to have a mentor, my very first mentor in the real estate business, who unfortunately is no longer with us, always taught me that if you help enough people get what they want, you'll never have a problem getting what you want. And in my typical stubbornness, I did not start applying that to my day-to-day in a really intentional way until a couple of years ago when I found you. At first, I found Robbie at a Wailopo event and I watched him on stage. My bromance with him started. I slid in his DMs and was like, dude, I don't know what I got to do, but I got to be in your proximity. And I just started being really insanely intentional around surrounding myself with people who are better than me, people who have accomplished what I want to accomplish. And then in turn, I started weaseling my way in with Robbie, which in turn gave me my ability to weasel my way to you. And thankfully was able to convince both of you guys to start coaching me. And so we really started getting intentional with growth and the things that are going to help make real estate what I've always wanted it to be. And
that is a place to serve. That's a place to give to people, right?
Yeah. And it's honestly been, we went through a tough time. Started in 2008, which was a really great time to start in real estate in Las Vegas. So that was a ton of fun.
I mean, Vegas completely crashed in 2008, right?
Yeah, it was like that scene. You don't have to like the movie or the concept behind it, but there's a scene in Wolf of Wall Street where the guy walks in, he just got his broker's license that day and everything shut down. And that was honestly how I felt. Like I was this kid that just didn't know any better. I wanted to get into the real estate market. And as I was walking in the office, everybody was walking out, tapping me on the back saying, good luck, kid. So got started in 2008, did well, realized when I was like 24 years old, I hated Nevada. I hated the heat. I hated the place that Las Vegas is.
If anybody here is watching and you're from Nevada, like Colton loves it.
Move. You move as fast as you can. I hated it. So moved to California, thought we were going to sell 400 homes a year the way we did in Las Vegas, and realized that this is a very, very saturated, very difficult competitive market to be in. Again, fell flat on my face, went through a horrible process where I had gotten a lawsuit with my ex-business partner, bankrupted me, and that ended right before the pandemic. And then, so we finally got out, we're like, cool, it's ready to put the throttles down. And that's when the pandemic hit. So just multiple sequences of things that were supposed to knock us down. And I just refused to let that happen when the pandemic hit. And we just got crazy intentional about following the advice and in the footsteps of people who were doing what we wanted to do. And because of that, we've seen a lot of massive growth because of it.
Last year, you and your team were 5 or 6 people. Is that right?
Correct.
And now you're 26 people?
We have 26 agents, 9 of which are in onboarding. So we've had with us for over 6 months, we've now had about 8 agents. But as we've scaled our lead flow and our lead partnerships with all the portals and our PPC and everything that we're doing, the need to add more agents to really be able to handle our lead volumes, it's demanded it.
Yeah. So let's, we're going to dive into it here in just a second, folks, but you need to hear this. Colton, last year, you guys closed what for volume?
Volume, shoot, I should know that off the top of my head. I think it was somewhere right around 80, 74, 84. I can't remember now.
Okay, I could go into our old notes, but let's just say we're going to put it right in the middle. We're going to say $79 million in volume. What do you have pended and closed to date as it's March 8th as we record this?
Right. As of right now, I can't tell you that number. We're at 55 million.
My man.
And I thank you for that.
I simply get to help build a runway. And you're doing things that I'm learning from here. I had Colton speaking and sharing with my team of agents last week as well, because I think what you're doing is exceptional. So let's talk about your market, because it's going to paint the backdrop of where we're going. Orange County, California, how many realtors?
We have about 70 to 74,000 licensed real estate agents in Orange County.
There are 125,000 people in Fargo.
Wow.
That's incredible. Yeah. Yep. The whole metro I serve is 250,000, but where I live, 125,000 people, and it is the biggest city in North Dakota. So Orange County is a different kind of place. 70 to 74,000 realtors. How many active listings are on the market right now?
Right now, we've slid up to about, if you removed manufactured senior communities, I apologize for my email dinging. I should have had that figured out. If you remove manufactured homes, senior communities, we have about 1,000 homes on the market.
Now, I think you could put your market against anybody else's, and it's easy to say that you may be in one of the toughest markets in the country, bar none. 1,000 homes for 70,000 realtors to sell, that is an issue. Colton, you have a pretty good track record as of late, and that's what we're here to learn from. Is correct me if I'm wrong, that of the last 16 or so homes that you yourself, your micro team have gone and represented, that you've written offers on, you've got 15 of the 16 accepted. Is that right?
Correct.
Now, I don't know if I could figure out the math, but each of these listings has how many offers on it?
I mean, gosh, it completely varies. You're at minimum 10, sometimes 30, sometimes 50. It's wild.
So can we put it at 30 at the average?
For an average, call it 15 to 20. Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna say 15. And if the odds are that you're gonna win 1 of 15, so I'm gonna do 15 divided by 1. No, excuse me, 1 divided by 15. You have a 6.67 chance of winning 1 offer.
This is why he's my coach, everybody. He's good at these things.
and you've now gone and you have done this 15 of the last 16 times.
Yeah.
Which tells me that you have less than a 0.5% chance to do what you've done.
It sounds better when you say it.
Less than 0.5% chance to win 15 of 16 offers. and you've somehow cracked the code. So folks, get your Trapper Keepers ready, write down some notes, because Colton is about to unveil what it is that he's done. And I think that there's two things that you've done, Colton. The first thing that I want to dive into is I want to dive into how you're tracking all your offers, so you're coaching your agents. So start educating us on what you're doing there.
Yeah, so what we ran into were very obviously performance-based. We started tracking all of the important indicators that lead us to see an agent's performance, appointment sets, appointment mets, contracts written, all the standard stuff. And we can do our best to coach our agents up to submitting great offers, and this is what you do, and now go do it. And because of Eric, I've learned that is a absolute recipe for failure. And we have learned to start adapting the approach of watch me, I watch you, and then you go do. So instead of just giving our agents the formula, we also have to track what they're doing to ensure that they're implementing what we're coaching and what we're teaching. And where we started seeing a huge drop off as we started growing the team is everybody had the same lead sources, everybody had the same the systems, the same tools, the same training, everything's equal, but some agents were excelling and some agents were not gaining any traction at all. So the one key
is that because some agents are more talented than others? Is that the reason? Or is it because they're doing things differently?
It's because they're implementing what we teach them to implement, and there's those who don't. It's just kind of turned into this thing where certain, and I don't know what it is, but defiance has been the biggest obstacle for any of their growth and traction. And we all have a level of defiance within us that prevents us or stops us from taking steps that we know work, whether it's because we don't believe in the power of compounding results or compounding efforts and ultimately leading to the ultimate result that we're looking for. But it's just something we notice. We have the steps step by step of what needs to be done, the template. Some agents execute it flawlessly, and then others will utilize maybe 10% of it. And what we needed to ensure is that we had visibility of when agents weren't executing the plan that we've laid out for them, because it's proven to work. And until we know otherwise, why try to fix what's not broken?
I want to put this into common person language. Is I think that what you've done exceptionally well, Colton, is you've created an avatar. You have the perfect blueprint. In fact, Robbie and I just wrote a book. It's going to launch in about 2.5 months. It's called The Perfect Real Estate Agent Blueprint, because we do think that there's a lot of models out there and you can find some success, but it is this model that we believe is the perfect model that will bring the best amount of success. It is an avatar saying do X, Y, and Z and you will win. Yeah. Now, you're taking that exact same mentality with your offers, and you and your agents are studying and you're figuring out from scorecards and Excel spreadsheets, you're figuring out, what does this ideal offer actually look like? What is this perfect offer? You're coaching your clients on how to write the perfect offer, and you're not guessing. Yeah. Gang, so many of you right now are guessing on how to win, and you are not gamifying this. You're not putting it on scorecards. You're not tracking your stuff. And Colton has done that now. And my gosh, it's changing your stars. 0.5% of people can do what you do, Colton, and yet here you are winning for your clients, and that's such a big deal.
Well, and I appreciate that. And again, I wish I could say that we started it this way because we knew it was going to get the best results. We were about to lose some of our partnerships because as we scaled, we needed our team to be able to perform at the same level that earned us the growth. And when we weren't facilitating on that performance and we weren't able to maintain it as we scaled, we showed an inability to scale, which in turn, we'd lose our partnerships. Go ahead. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
No, you're good.
So that's kind of, we ended up we were shooting in the dark. And one, we needed to find out which agents were following the plan, which agents weren't. And the only way for us to do that was we started requiring that the agents, when they submit an offer, they have to BCC our virtual assistant, or it started with somebody in the office. And that person's job was to then track all of the important metrics that we're getting our offers accepted, because we have almost 12 things that we implement. We have 12 tools in the tool chest, and we don't always have to use all 12, but we have tools in the toolbox that sometimes are required and sometimes are not.
Do you know those off the top of your head? Because I think people are going to want to write this down.
I do, yeah. So,
Okay,
and
what are the
I have
12?
it written down just so I can make sure I don't forget it.
There you go.
So one of the big things that we do, partial or a full release of the initial deposit.
So number one, deposit. I'm going to help people with the visual here.
Yep. So number one, partial or full release of the deposit. And the reason being, people, like, the market hasn't got more competitive than it was last year. But agents and buyers have become way more strategic, and they've learned how to play chess within the contract, and they've learned how to maintain certain protections without really having the contingency applied to the agreement. So people are waiving the appraisal, knowing that they're going to get the appraisal completed within our inspection period. And that inspection period is really a get out of jail free card. So the competition has just gotten, and now everybody's Tom Brady, and everybody's gotten more competitive. So it's required that we get more tactical in our approach. So one of the things that we do to ensure that the seller knows that you have a buyer who's committed, and we're not going to try to nitpick, and we're not going to try to walk away over $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, is we do in our market, we have to release anywhere between $5,000 to $15,000 of a deposit, because here you can walk away from a property, take another 30 days to find another replacement, and that same exact property will cost another $20,000, $30,000 based on our appreciation and our price points. So walking away from a property isn't advantageous for anybody, knowing that you're going to have to pay more money for the same thing 30 days down the road. So that release of deposit is a really big one. Do you want me to keep going through all 12?
Yeah, I want all 12.
Cool. Triangulating a connection. That is
Number two.
Number two, triangulating a connection. And in doing that, anytime an agent submits an offer in our office, they have to put it in our Slack chat, which is how we communicate internally. Who knows this agent? Because now we have a ton of agents, we have a ton of networks, we have a ton of relationships and masterminds that we've been very intentional about joining to make sure that we're within proximity of all the top agents in Orange County. And we all know we like to work with agents that we like.
This is still a relationship game, and it's still who you know. If you have a great relationship with that person, man, what a solid you're doing your buddy in the office to call and say, listen, this is a really strong offer. What do they need to do to win? Right?
Yep, for sure. And so when we can triangulate that connection, whether it be through us, whether it be through a vendor, I have mastermind groups that I'm part of. I'll post it in Lab Coat Agents. I'll post it in any chat and say, who knows this agent? And the agents have all been trained to do the same thing. We try to find them on Instagram. We look them up on Facebook. We look them up on LinkedIn. We find out who our mutual connections are. We reach out to those connections. We find out, how do you know this agent? We just got an offer accepted this way because I saw an agent who I've never heard of, who had never sold a home, was connected with a good friend of mine who I just helped with something. So I reached out, said, hey, do you know who this person is? He said, yeah. Oh my gosh, absolutely. We used to work together in our previous brokerage. Let me connect you to. He sent a video chat, which I appreciated. Said, I wanted to introduce you to Colton. Just know if you guys get an offer accepted, they're going to close it. This is exactly who you want to work with. So she told us, hey, we're submitting offers tonight at 5 o'clock. I'm already going to be meeting with them. We already have everything in. Submit it at this, and we'll accept her offer. So by triangulating that connection and finding somebody that knew us that could help us, we were able to obtain information that won the client the home.
Colton, what you just said, if I'm on the other side of this, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Because what we're talking about is a soft skill. I think people are looking for that hard skill. Do not underestimate the importance of the relationships that you build with the other agent. It's one of the reasons why you will win almost every time. I have some agents that have meticulous reputations, and I have some that are incredible salespeople, but really bad at the details. And those reputations follow them. And so they have a harder time getting some offers won. Your ability to play those soft skills and to build a great reputation and to make a connection cannot be understated.
I think and what I always tell my team is it's really easy to discount the value that is created by each of these little micro steps that we take. And it's really easy to discount it because if you put it into the chat 2-3 times and you say, hey, who knows Eric Hatch? And if you're not in my market, everybody knows who he is there. However, if it's a name that nobody's ever heard of here in Orange County, you say, hey, who knows this realtor? And you hear no 3 times in a row. You'll start to notice that agents will start to disconnect from that step because it hasn't worked for them 2-3 times. I have an agent, Matthew, in my office, who every single time he submits an offer, asks that question. And he has won probably 4 or 5 offers now because I personally knew the agent in the office. So it's so easy. Like if you're trying to get in shape and we go into the gym and we pick up a dumbbell and we do a curl and you look in the mirror and you don't see the result to go, oh, it's not working. But we know it is. Subconsciously, we know when we go in there and we continue putting in the repetitions, we're eventually going to see the results from our efforts. And that's what we train our agents. It's like each and every one of these steps, you're not going to see the visible results immediately, but if you continue putting in the repetitions for each of these different exercises or tools that are going to win your offer, at the end of the year, you will see massive increases in your offer to acceptance rate. And it's when we can connect people to the importance of those steps and not missing them and take them every single time. Frankly, our clients deserve it. And if you're too lazy to take it, they should have a different agent who's going to respect their time, their process, and the actual goal of finding them their home. And for me, it's important that we connect our agents with why they're taking these steps, because it's way more than us just putting a deal into escrow. It's making sure that this family has a home to live in next month, because a lot of our clients here, it's like 2 to 3 months can price them out of the market and lose them the opportunity of home ownership.
Yeah. 1 deposit, 2 triangulate. What's number 3?
Number 3, giving a bonus to the seller. So any of the stuff, like we all know when it comes to whatever standard in your market, title fees, escrows, HOA documents, there's so many little things and hard expenses that are associated with the transaction that, okay, say the property doesn't appraise or say that something happens and we have to renegotiate. There's hard expenses built into the transaction that are going to affect the seller's bottom line. So if we can cover some of those expenses and ensure that we mitigate and protect their bottom line to give them the highest net for the seller, instead of waiting another 30, 40, 60 days for our buyer to find the home, cover $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 of their closing costs to help us stand out in comparison to the other offers.
So I love that. And Colton, I heard you say last week when you spoke with my agents, and again, when you were giving your intro here, that your properties in Orange County are appreciating $20,000 or $30,000 a month. Now in Fargo, North Dakota, that's not happening. Our average sales price is $280, but it went up. Our average sales price went up 10% in the last year. So let's just say it goes up 1% a month. Well, that's still $2,800 in a month. And in the conversations you have with your clients, it needs to be casting that vision with them of, do you understand what happens if you don't win today? Because if you come back and try to buy this exact same house 30 days from now, the price in Fargo has increased $3,000. The price in Orange County has increased $30,000. And so I've taken this as well, Colton, is just because the seller is winning doesn't mean that you are losing.
Yeah.
And that has to be an important narrative for our clients, that they understand I'm not losing because I'm paying top dollar and I'm paying all these extra fees. I'm winning because I'm getting a house in a market that's massively appreciating, and I'm moving my family here, and I'm investing my extra cash while inflation goes through the roof. I'm locking in, fighting inflation for the next 30 years. That's how you lose, is if you don't get to play that game, regardless of if you pay an extra $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 more.
Well, and a year ago, it was a seller's market, but the buyer who bought that home a year ago, that home is now worth $300,000 to $400,000 more in our market. So a year ago, was it a buyer's market or a seller's market? Because we have clients selling their home 6 months later, 8 months later, and cashing out and doing another sale. I mean, it's crazy. So it really is important, and it's a calculation that people need to make. And I think it's too easy to skip it.
Yeah. What's number 4, Colton?
Making sure, so an on-time closing guarantee. This is one especially huge with veterans, VA buyers, making sure, because it's so unbelievably difficult. We have people who are saying that it's impossible to get VAs. We've gotten 6 VAs accepted within the last 3 weeks. And the reasons being, one, we guarantee an on-time closing. And if we don't hit that closing, we will discount the commission by $5,000. We don't.
So you're just writing that into the contract.
Yep. We write it into the contract because we have to make sure, like, and for us, truthfully, when it comes to a veteran, if I have to give up $5,000 to get a veteran in a home, I don't know if you've worked with veterans before. They're one of the best, most loyal amazing clients that we've ever worked with. They're one of our favorite types of clients. They're the ones that have the biggest disadvantage, and unfortunately agents try to discount them because they think their form of financing is bad, and it's not. VAs are incredible. You just got to know how to write them. So one, we'll guarantee an on-time closing, and if we don't, we will discount our commission by whatever you guys would do in your market.
So and that guarantee is coming from you, not from your buyer.
Correct. It's coming from us.
Yeah.
In addition to that, we pre-agree to do a per diem. Here we do a $200 a day per diem in the event that we don't close on time. That is going to be at the expense of either the buyer and or the lender. And then in addition to that, so we've got the per diem, we've got the guarantee. And that honestly has just been huge for us because just those two things, the highest price isn't what's winning now. And we've even had with our love letters that we've submitted, people who are accepting lower offers that mitigate the risk of not closing on time because so many of these people have uplegs to move to. So, and fast close of escrows aren't the winning factor for us. It's guaranteed.
So I want people to hear that really clearly. The highest priced offer doesn't always win. It's going to be the one that is the most secure, the most safe, that mitigates any concern that seller may have.
20,000, Chelsea. So here our average commission just on it, it's being ridiculous in regard to percentages, but we're 25,000.
So you're looking at you're offering 25% of your commission.
Yep. And we haven't had to pay one out. Obviously we want to make sure like we use our lender, and we know our lender, if he tells us that we're good to go, they perform, and they perform every single time. So it's something that we haven't had to pay. There's one right now that I'm concerned about, not because of the lender, but because I don't think the property is going to appraise. For this particular person, I'd give the whole commission to make sure they got the house if we needed to.
And again, folks, you should have heard it in the beginning, and I hope it's the mindset you all have. If you help everybody else get what they want, you'll get exactly what you want. And that's what Colton's philosophy is. And that's why you're my brother, man, is because you have this generous heart. I want to make sure we get through the whole list. What's number 5?
Yep. Escalation clauses. I know they're illegal in some markets. They are very legal here. We can ladder the purchase price. So basically you have to have a cap on it. So our big thing is every client, clients are coming to us ready to offer 8 to 12% over, because when we first meet with our client, we know by tracking all of our data that offers that are getting accepted are anywhere between 8 to 12% over, depending on where we're at. So when we educate them during the buyer consultation, they know exactly what they have to offer. The clients are coming to us ready to submit the offer, but they're like, well, how high do we think it's going to go? And we always have to contact the listing agent, because a lot of listing agents don't know what they are. And if they don't know what they are, they immediately say, no, we won't consider it. So we have to do a ton of educating to a listing agent to ensure that, one, not in a condescending way, because how we say it is one of the most important things, but making sure that we're just being helpful to help get the deal that we want, and we're not being condescending by forcing an escalation clause on them.
Yeah. Somebody asked, how long is your buyer consultation? And folks, I want you to understand, I'm going to post a video here. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, it's the last video we did with Mike Novak that talks about the importance of the buyer consultation. How long does your buyer consultation take? Because you're obviously going through a lot of these details.
I get through mine, honestly, in about 30, 45 minutes. My agent's probably about an hour and 15. I keep it simple. I don't follow each point. I stole Mike Novak's. So it is by far one of the most beneficial things we've done in our process, because the buyers are just more prepared to write competitive offers. I think one of the biggest issues that we see agents make, and I hear them say it all the time, is I'm not going, an agent will submit a low offer and sorry, my client wanted to, they'll learn their lesson this time. And the part that's so painful when I hear people say that is, did you educate them to prepare them for what's going to come? Or are you letting them submit so the market can teach them their lesson? And I think too many agents are letting the market do the teaching and the educating. And that's why, one, you're going to lose a lot of your clients, because if we don't prepare them, they're going to get their butts kicked. I say butts because I'm here with Eric and I won't cuss in front of him. Yes, you will. Not in public. But anyway, so it's just one of the important pieces. So agents are coming to us now. Our clients are saying, okay, we'll offer 12%, but it's like, if we can get it for 7, I'd like to get it for 7. And on some of these homes, we can, depending on the price points. So the escalation clause, we agree to pay up to, say, we'll do an entry level offer of $1 million and we'll cap it up to 1.2. And so if somebody submits a $1 million offer, we do an escalation clause of $10,000. So if I submit $1 million offer, Eric submits $1,010,000, my offer automatically ladders up to $1,020,000, all the way up to 1.2. If it goes beyond and above that, we don't, because we put a cap in. So in order for an escalation clause to be legal here, we have to have a cap. Check within your market, of course, because it's different for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Escalation clauses have been huge for a lot of people's businesses. There's a savvy to it, right? It's making sure and understanding who your competition is, but even more important, who that listing agent is and how they want to be communicated to, and their thoughts. Mark asked the question, are you escalating once or do you keep escalating?
So here it'll escalate all the way up to a certain price cap. So if it's $1 million and we put it up to $1.2 million, it'll escalate 100 times, depending on what our increase is. For us, it's 10,000. So as long as people keep submitting an offer higher than us, all the way up to 1.2, our offer will continue to escalate.
Yeah. Holly asks, how do you handle when listing agents say they won't entertain them?
It happens. And when they don't, do not battle them, because immediately we're going to go to the bottom of the stack. So honestly, we've been successful in getting some agents who have said no, but we just have to be very polite, very understanding, ask them why that's something that the seller wouldn't consider. And usually when we ask politely, they'll explain that they don't understand it. And if they seem receptive, we'll educate them on it. But if they're not, we follow the agent's instructions and do exactly what they tell you to do. And one of the things that we have to do in that case, it's like, well, clients always want to know, well, what do we offer up to? And for us, we just always have the conversation based on what's been coming on the market, based on what we've seen, based on what homes are selling for versus what they're listed at. Have we seen anything else that checks more boxes better than this home does? Because if the answer to that is no, offer your highest and best for this home. And they're going to offer up to their comfort level based on what, and by asking them, is there anything else? They almost always will put their best foot forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, really good language around that, Colton. I think we're on number 6. Is that right?
Yep. So we utilize, and there's a lot of different variants of this that parallel the services. We partnered with HomeLight, and it gives us the ability to offer cash offers. So HomeLight gives our finance buyers the ability to offer cash for properties. It's not for every single buyer. It's a tool that we'll use for the appropriate buyer for the right home, because here they're doing it for within a 21-day close. It's free. They don't charge you for it. It's a loss leader for HomeLight. It's how they secure the mortgage business. If you need a more expert, the rate is actually super competitive. But there's a lot of different cash option programs out there for different states.
Great. Yeah, really helpful if you can do it. Some markets you can't, some markets you can, but it's certainly worth exploring. Colton, what is number 7? And folks, if you are wondering what this list is, Colton has 12 key things that they make sure every offer has in order to create the perfect offer. What's number 7?
Minimizing the number, which is super simple, minimizing the number of applicable contingencies, and for the contingencies that we do apply, minimizing their term. And this one I think is really overlooked and overthought. If you have a really great lender, like for us, you cannot get an offer accepted with financing. You cannot get an offer accepted with appraisal. So why are we submitting offers with an appraisal, and why are we submitting offers with a loan? In the majority, like for example, we had a listing yesterday and we ended up receiving 26 offers on that home. There were 3 offers that waived the appraisal and waived the loan. People are keeping the appraisal on there because they're concerned that their client doesn't have the ability to pay the difference in cash. Well, we're not having appraisal issues at all. I check in with my escrow officer all the time because we want to start pumping the brakes on the strategy as soon as we start seeing that shift, but we're not seeing it yet. So it's, why are we making the offer contingent upon a term that ultimately isn't going to have to be exercised, or a contingency that ultimately isn't going to have to be exercised? Because if we do here, it's standard in within our timelines, a inspection contingency, which here is a get out of jail free card. It's 17 days. An appraisal and a loan is 21 days. We submit ours with 5-day inspection periods, and we submit ours without a loan and without appraisal. Because we have a lender that we work with who can get the appraisal ordered on a rush before we even have the executed contract. And we will have our executed contract back, our appraisal and the thumbs up on our loan. We'll have that back within our get out of jail free window. And if we have to for certain buyers, because it's going to take a little more time, we'll do 7. But most of our market's offering 10, 14, 15. So our terms are always smoking everybody else.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I can tell you.
So Colton, when you shared this with my team last week, they got stuck. They got stuck because they're like, how can you get an appraisal ordered, done, and completed in 5 days? That didn't make sense to them. But it's on the other side of money and relationships, isn't it? Right? You have a great lender and you do all the work in the beginning. You make sure that this person isn't just pre-approved, but like they've ran everything, all this stuff. I know there's some lenders watching this right now. Them doing all that work ahead of time, and then now they're ordering that appraisal. You're rushing an appraisal and it's costing your client an extra couple $100, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And we have allowed the market to dictate how we serve. We can go in and strong arm and say, listen, I'm willing to pay you more. It's got to be on my terms now, right? Yeah. It always used to be on the lender's terms, and it always used to be on the appraiser's terms. Enough money of rushing a couple $100 will help you win your place today. I think it's absolutely brilliant, and I think that somebody needs to take over this steering wheel in this transaction, and it's got to be us for our buyers, and not just let the tail wag the dog.
Yeah. And it is because we have agents in our office. Trust me, if you come and you audited every single file, we have the agents who are exceptionally good at this. They're exceptionally good at the articulation to the client, and their clients feel comfortable every single time they offer it. My showing partner, she laughs because other agents say they struggle with it. And she's like, well, you've never even been questioned on it. And it's the way that we deliver the message. So we role play it and we practice with one another, because if they go deliver it as, well, you see what we can try to do. And when it starts becoming a maybe we can, as opposed to this is what needs to be done, we see a dramatic difference in the way that the client responds to it. And we are helping the client maintain the same protections that the contingencies offer. We're just not applying them to the agreement. So the big piece for us is making sure that before we even have the executed contract, when we know we have it, we will order the appraisal and it will be ordered on a rush. Our lender is willing to do that for us. Another big piece to that is, of course, making sure they have all the documentation so they can give us a thumbs up on the approval. But more importantly, so if we have a good agent and a good listing agent, and like I said, we have almost 75,000 here, the majority of them are terrible. When you submit one of these terms, and if they're all here, just kidding, not you. But when we submit these offers, and if they don't have the ability to bridge the gap, most listing agents aren't even finding that. So what you need to show, like if you submit that offer for us, do they have the financial ability to bridge the gap in the event the home doesn't appraise? And if they don't, we always make sure with each and every client, if they're a 20% down offer, and they only have 23% to play with, can we qualify them at 10 to show an extra 12? So we would rather work with a 10% down offer that had an extra 12% of funds to play with to bridge the gap, as opposed to a 20% down offer that only had the down payment and the closing costs to work with. So we always make sure, do we have the ability to lower the down payment to increase the ability to bridge the gap in the event that something goes wrong?
Colton, number 8.
Number 8, just did it. Minimizing the down payment and little things. This one's really simple and silly. Do not ask that the seller pay for a home warranty. Here, it is very standard that a seller used to pay for that. Anything you are going to do that is going to decrease that seller's walk away, we want to ensure that we don't do it. Losing a home over $600-700 here doesn't work. But one of the big things is agents struggle with identifying where they're at. So when we contact an agent, they'll call, well, the listing agent didn't get back to me. We teach our agents to be relentless about utilizing calls, texts, email, social media, everything we can to get a hold of an agent. And then asking them the questions that we need to ask. And this is the simple stuff. What's important to the seller? Where do you think this price is going to end up at? And every single time the agent's like, well, we're not disclosing that here. I totally understand. Do you have anything over 1.1? No, we don't have anything that high. Got it. Anything over 1,050,000? Yeah, we got to cut. Like they'll say no one time. Robbie T always teaches us that it takes emotional internal energy to stop somebody with an objection. So when we continue to peel the onion and you continue to ask, we call it the bracket request. You just keep asking, and you'll hear my agents out there doing it, and they're getting so good at it. Every single time the agent says, no, I'm not going to disclose it. And you'll hear my agents start to bracket them and continue to ask, because eventually they start opening up in regard to where offers are at. So when we can have access to that information, we have the ability not to shoot in the dark and to submit better offers.
Really good. Was that number 9 or was that number 8?
Honestly, I think we've kind of bulldozed our way through most of them. I've hit pretty much, we've hit pretty much every point.
There's some note takers that are there, and I want them to be able to get it. So number 8, just tell us what number 8 is.
That one is leverage home lights, cash options, and trade-in programs.
Okay. Number 9.
Number 9 was, minimize the number and the duration of contingencies, eliminate them when possible.
Okay, 10.
Minimize the down payment so you can maximize the funds you have to cover the appraisal gap.
Yeah.
Another big piece, if people don't have the funds, we reach out to their friends and their family. They don't have to have any intention of helping contribute to the transaction.
They just need to be there in the front end to show that they have the cash. Yeah.
Show that they have it. And if we have to, we'll have a buyer letter. But again, homes are appraising. So all we're trying to do is create a facade that in the event that the home doesn't appraise, we have additional funds to tap into. So friends, family, investment accounts, we utilize those. And then do not ask the seller to pay for the home warranty. The buyer's going to pay for it. That is number 12.
Okay. All this is taken by your VA. They review every single offer that is submitted that wins, correct? Or do they review every offer regardless?
Say that last part again. Sorry.
Are they reviewing winning and losing offers, or just one or the other?
So on my list, and we keep creating new variations of this list because we want more data on it. But we have on there whether the offer was accepted or whether it was rejected. So we have real life, because comps are only good for finding what sold in the past. Mm-hmm. We need to find out what homes are going to sell for in the future. And the best way for us to have accurate data on that is tracking what's currently winning this week with our offers. Has there been a shift? And here, even with rising interest rates, our days on market decreased by 3 days over the last 2 weeks. And now that interest rates are going back down, we anticipate that to continue to increase.
Yeah. So we're taking all this. Your VA puts it all into a spreadsheet, and out pops the perfect avatar for a winning offer. Yes. And you're now taking that to your clients and you're saying, hey, we've done all this work, all this research. If you want to win, their best chance to do so is to offer this % above asking, and to waive these things, and to check these boxes and to not check these other boxes. This is your perfect offer, and this is how you win. How are they actually taking your advice? Because so many times, Colton, people will tell me, my buyers wanted to see if they can get it at this price. How are you getting your people to avoid that failed attempt?
Because we can just show them that people are trying and it's not working. And the reality of it is, missing the opportunity for 1 to 2 to 3 months can price them out of the market, especially as interest rates rise and within our price points. It can cost people just simply way too much money to continue making these tests and to compete testing the market. We've already done it for you, and we can show you every offer, each buyer name, and they'll see from the first offer that they submitted to the 6th, you'll see their competitiveness, and they're willing to start playing the game the way that they're going to win. All of a sudden they get the acceptance. And when you have access to that data, it's not a guess. It's proven to be what's working in the market today for other clients in similar situations and areas.
I said at the beginning of this, Colton, that there were 2 things that you're doing well. One is the scorecard. You're taking the logical, studied blueprint of figuring out and pushing out, this is the perfect offer. Your clients and your agents are set up to win in one of the toughest markets in the world. They're set up to win because you know in real time what that perfect offer looks like. And that changes every day as well, based on updated stats. The second piece that you're doing, and I want to make sure people understand these 2, one is the blueprint and 2 is the soft skills. And I hope you heard those layered in there in terms of the language that we use, the relationships that we build, and the coaching that we do. We don't just coach our clients, we sometimes have to coach the other agents too. And this means, and I want to be polite when I say this, but you need to slow the F down, most of you. You're trying to race and rush. And if you slow down and do a really great consult in the beginning, and then you spend the time coaching your agents, developing the relationships with your lenders and your appraisers, your chances of winning are going to be that much greater. Slow down to speed up, and you can still win in this market today. Because if Colton's team is winning in such grand accord, there's no reason that the rest of us can't, because they're in a tougher market than most of us, right? Colton, what am I missing? What do people need to know and hear in these last few minutes?
Honestly, it's really just knowing the power of each of these steps and making sure that your clients understand we're not going to use each tool every single time. Sometimes we need a screwdriver, sometimes we need a hammer, sometimes we need the sledgehammer. But as long as we have the tools available, we know how to use them, we can get the exact result that we're looking for. There's other little things that have worked well for us. Sending out a video text to the agent. We do it for our clients. We also need to do it for agents. And we often so much fail to realize that we're applying for a job. Like, we're applying to work with this person for the next 30 days. And I know the agent on the other side of that transaction, when things inevitably do go south on certain transactions, their ability to be professional, their ability to articulate themselves, their ability to strategize is going to be what's critical to getting my seller the result that we're looking for, and that's a successful close. So we are doing little things that are going to help us stand out, like submitting a video offer. Hi, Eric, just wanted to say congratulations on your new listing. It's absolutely perfect for what my client's looking for. We're preparing the offer tonight. I'm going to go ahead and submit that to you. It'll be by your inbox tonight. I'm going to give you a call in just a minute just to make sure that I'm submitting that perfect offer. And we send a video, and the people do answer, and we get amazing response from it. And again, it's one of these tiny soft touches that everybody discounts the power of. But if you talk to somebody, like if you send that to a Mike Novak or a me, it's not going to do much. It's not going to hurt you, but it's not going to help you. But there's all the high I's and the high S's that are going to receive that touch. And it's going to be like, oh my gosh, that was so sweet of you. And it's just one extra touch that will end up connecting with somebody in a different way. So if we can utilize that touch to get the client the result that they're looking for, we need to utilize it, not skip that step.
Rock solid, Colton. Folks, we're getting close to wrapping. So if you have some questions, post them now. I do want to give just a couple of quick calls to action. The first is this. If you swing over to our Hatch Realty market, or Hatch Coaching, look at this, I got too many companies, I'll be darned. You swing to our Hatch Coaching marketplace, go to hatchcoaching.com. You can see there are some products that we're selling to help people with their role playing and to get you prepared. We have a whole bunch of training courses and other things that have both impacted Colton and had him impact us as we've created this stuff. So please jump on that, and we can be a resource to you. So swing over to hatchcoaching.com's marketplace. Lots of great stuff there. Finally, I want to challenge you all that right now, this is going to continue to get harder. This is going to continue to deal with these headaches. And the only option is for you to get better. It's the only option. Our clients deserve it. There's some questions coming in here. And I got to say, Colton, you brought so much value today. I'm seeing it flood here as well. Some questions. First off, what happens when a client doesn't have the option of waiving the inspection? How do you handle that?
So we don't often in our market have to waive the inspection. It was happening there for a little bit, but stopped. The big piece is waiving a portion of the EMD is more important than actually waiving the inspection. For us, we never recommend it. It's not required in our market that often.
EMD, break that down for people, because that's not common.
Initial deposit, earnest money deposit, the good faith money, whatever you guys call it in your market. Waiving a portion of that deposit has been one of the key pieces. And again, if the client can't, I saw another one in there, what if they're capped? You can only play the cards that you have the ability to play, and sometimes it's going to be a losing hand. And when that's the case, and if our clients are continuously looking at something that's not within their wheelhouse, because you'll have people, I want to pay up to an 800,000, but it's like, okay, then we got to be looking at sevens. And if you don't see anything in the sevens and everything you want in the eights, those homes are going to sell in the nines. We're wasting our time in the amount of time that it takes you to figure that out. those 7s are now going to be 8s, and those 8s are now going to be 9s. So we just make sure that they're aware that by waiting and utilizing the wrong approach and looking in the wrong price points that don't give them the ability to compete could cost them their ability to get into a home.
Yeah. Question here from Jim Black's group. He is asking, how is this VA taking all of this data? They're just putting it on a spreadsheet, right? And they're saying what's winning here, what's the list price, and what is the actual accepted price? Yes.
Yeah, so we just have a VA that's tracking all the important data. What percent to list price was getting accepted? What percent to list price did the agent and the client submit? We break it down based per agent, per client, because sometimes certain clients are more aggressive than others. So we make sure that we know what each of those clients is doing, and we look for an opportunity to improve the agent's ability to coach their clients to a winning strategy. Because you can take this data, and if you don't do anything with it, it's pointless. So we have performance reviews every 2 weeks that we go over this data, and since we've done it, everybody's offer to acceptance rate has been cut by a ridiculously absurd amount.
A couple of interesting questions here, Colton, asking about when your buyers are capped or if they don't have the option money's tight, they don't have a lot to put down, they can't maybe necessarily pay to play. I want to take Colton's strategy of if they're an $800,000 buyer, they should be shopping the $700,000 range. So they're going to actually get flushed up to that top price. One of my favorite strategies is the day old bread strategy. Instead of having your clients come to you and say, this house just hit the market, this is I want to go and jump on, they need to shop on the houses that have been on the market for a week or two, the day old bread. And that's where they're going to find their opportunities to win if they can't compete with pricing terms.
Yeah, we have a filter set up in our MLS that anything older than in here 2 weeks is very rare. 2+ weeks, certain clients will only receive those 2+ weeks because they don't have the ability to do any of the things that we just offered. And as a result, we got to try to find something that'll have a seller who's more encouraged to work with them.
The other option is track down some FSBOs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to be one of your only chances. Colton, final parting words here, man. What do you got for us?
I love you. Thank you for everything you've done for us, because truly I can tell you without you, one, I never would have had the leadership to finally get to this point where I can actually start leading people in a way that's going to get them to where they want to be. And I truly just cannot thank you enough for, I can tear up every time I talk about you. You've just changed my life in every single way. You're my brother. You're the best mentor in the world. And I'm so grateful for everything you've done for my family and for me.
Oh, that's
love you, man.
not really nice. I love you too. We're going to end there.